It's the most wonderful time of the month. See, you thought I was singing Christmas songs, didn't you? Welcome back to the channel, Book Dragons. I am so glad that you are here with me today. I'm going to go ahead and get right to the content of this video, but if you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, and all that good stuff, I would surely appreciate it. You can join my Discord as well if you want to be a more active part of the community. And with that said, I'm bringing you my monthly update. We're going to talk books, we're going to talk shows, we're going to talk games, and all that fun stuff. So make sure that you stick around for all the fun, okay? So we're going to start with the books that I read in September. The first book I want to mention is The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker. I liked it okay. It was a very tough book to read. Short, but very complex, and I definitely want to read the rest of the series, but I don't know how soon I will get around to it. It's not going to be a high priority. I've said this in a previous video, so I won't belabor it, but I did read The Darkness That Comes Before. I also read Animal by Chad Nicholas, and guys, today is the release date for that book. I read it in advance, but it releases today. If you've not seen my review of Animal, you need to go watch it and find out exactly why this is a wonderful book for you to read. You need to go buy it right now. You need to read it in October for Spooky Month. It's one of those books that I almost wish I had read it during Spooky Month, but oh man, it's perfect, and I think you will thank me. You will come back and you'll say, "Hey, Chaz, thank you for recommending this book to me." The next book I read was The Time of Contempt by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is book 4 in the Witcher series, and I really liked it up until a certain point in the book. Toward the end, something happened that I just was not cool with, and I don't know if I'll continue the series. I might. More to come on that. And then I also read The Changeling by Victor LaValle. Guys, this is such an amazing book. I will be doing a review of it, but I'm waiting until I finish the TV show on Apple TV Plus. And Ari's pawing at me, ready to come up. Okay. All right, Ari, there you go. Cat cameo. All right, so let's get back to The Changeling. Yeah, The Changeling's magnificent. I am watching the show on Apple TV Plus right now, so I'm going to plan on doing a dual review for both the book and the show and let you know what I think. And, I mean, so far, so good. So, I'll let you know when it comes to that. Now, that's all I read in September. It was a tough month for me reading-wise, just, you know, being really busy at work and stuff, which is when I get a lot of my reading done. And reading slumps happened. You know how that stuff goes. So I did have one other book that I was supposed to read, and it was my patron pick for the quarter, and the quarter ended with September, and I still have not finished the book. That's not good. That's not good. So I deeply apologize. Josephina is the one who picked the book for me, so I will be finishing that in October, and that's the perfect transition for me to talk about my reading plans for October. And I'm going to put my eyes on for this. All right, so October. I already talked about I'm going to finish An Alchemy of Masks and Mirrors. That's what I was supposed to read in September, and I didn't. I am also going to read The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, and I have a specific reason why I'll be doing that, and we'll talk about that later in the video. I'm also going to be doing a reread of The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. My second favorite book of all time. I just absolutely love it. And I'm going to be buddy reading this with my friend Mona Lisa over at Mona Lisa Reads. You can check out her channel in the description below. I'll have it linked. Super excited about that. I'm also going to be reading The Man in the Brown Suit. It's a standalone Agatha Christie novel, not one of her signature detectives, just one of her other detectives that she wrote about. And I'm going to be buddy reading that one with Mona Lisa as well. So she and I are going to be reading 2 books together this month. And speaking of buddy reads, I am going to be doing a buddy read of Ship of Destiny, the final book in the Live Ship Traders by Robin Hobb. And that buddy read is with my good friend Danielle over at Bookcara. So link in the description for her channel as well. That way you can check her out. I highly recommend you do so. She's awesome. As is Mona Lisa. Yes, check out both of those ladies because they are just amazeballs. Alright, and then I'm going to be reading Secret Novel number 4. I don't know what the title is yet. I think somebody mentioned what it was supposed to be, but I forgot what it was. So I'm just calling it Secret Project number 4 until I open it up on my Kindle and start reading it. I did get the email with the file so that I can download it to my Kindle. I just haven't done so yet. We will see once I get to it. And then the next thing I am going to be reading in October is the Lock and Key graphic novel collection. And yes, I am going to read all 4 of these in October. And the reason being is because, you know, guys, they're graphic novels. They're like comic books. I can easily probably crank out 1 per day and get it done. So these are going to be short for me, but I've been wanting to read these for a while. And I say 4, it's actually 3 Lock and Key graphic novels in the main story arc, but then there is a crossover with The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. So Joe Hill and Neil Gaiman put their heads together to create a crossover tie-in. So I'm going to be reading that as well after I read the 3 collector's editions of the comics, of the graphic novels. So that's my plan for October. And I don't think I'll have time for anything else in October. I've already got a full plate as far as books go. So that's what you can expect there. Now, let's move on to shows and movies. The first show that I want to talk about is Staged, with David Tennant and Michael Sheen, who have worked together on Good Omens and are absolutely magical together. We watched Staged, which is almost kind of like a mockumentary that started during the pandemic when everybody had to work from home and be on Zoom and stuff like that. So pretty much the entire series of Staged takes place on Zoom or some form of video conferencing. And it was just great. Classic humor from the both of those guys. I just had a blast watching it. So did my daughter. We love everything that David Tennant's in, and we like Michael Sheen as well. It was so great. I highly recommend it. We also watched the movie Brightburn, which is kind of a bad Superman type of tale. So instead of Superman being the savior of the world, in this version, the superhero is not a hero at all. He's a destructive force, and you know, it's just this little boy and been sent to destroy the world, and just how he comes into his power, and it's just wild. It's a horror movie. I would call it a super horror movie, superhero horror movie. Yeah, it was pretty brutal, but so good. It's an excellent movie. I highly recommend it. So, I also watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for the first time. Finally, it happened. My daughter and a friend of ours got together and were like, oh, what are we going to watch tonight? Oh, let's watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And it was good. And I'd heard it would be a tearjerker, and there were parts of it that were tearjerkers. I've been kind of all over the place with that series because I really liked the first movie. The second movie was good, but not the greatest. And there were parts of the third movie that I was like, oh, I don't know. But then the way they wrapped everything together, it was just wonderful. I had a blast watching it. I also watched the documentary Still with Michael J. Fox. And that's essentially Michael J. Fox telling his story of his rise to fame and diagnosis with Parkinson's disease, and how he copes and navigates life as a person with Parkinson's disease. So I was just really impressed and encouraged by everything that he shared in that show, just to see how he takes life by the horns and just rides no matter what comes his way. I just thought it was a wonderful glimpse into his life to see his everyday struggles and what that looks like for him. And I've always been a fan of Michael J. Fox, and that documentary was really, really good. It's only on Apple TV Plus, so you do have to be a subscriber to Apple TV Plus, but I highly recommend it. And I'll have some other recommendations for you from Apple TV Plus coming up shortly. So you may want to subscribe to Apple TV Plus after this. My daughter and I finished our watch through of the Granada Television Sherlock Holmes series. And it was bittersweet. I absolutely love Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes. And to introduce it to my daughter and see how much she loves it, oh, guys, it was just a priceless time to be watching that show with her. So, yeah, we finished it, and she was like, oh, maybe we can rewatch it in the near future again, Dad. I'm like, I would not complain about that. We also finished Cabinet of Curiosities, which is a Netflix series spearheaded by Guillermo del Toro, and they take stories from modern writers, they take some stories from Edgar Allan Poe, they take some stories from Lovecraft. It was just fantastic, guys. So I couldn't recommend that show more. There are some episodes that are extremely unsettling. There was one episode in particular that I remember. I'm like, oh God, can we watch something positive? Because that was a little much. But it's a really great series. If you guys love horror or shows that give you an extremely high sense of dread, you need to watch that series. We finished What We Do in the Shadows Season 5. I didn't quite like the ending. It was a little disappointing. It's good, though. The series is excellent as always. We finished My Adventures with Superman. That's an original cartoon on HBO Max. It was really great. The way they told the Superman story was very well done. Kind of brought it into a modern era, and I thought it was good. I'm anxious to see where it goes as they make more seasons of it. So the shows I started were The Changeling, the show that's based on the book I read in September, The Changeling. And I'm really liking it so far. We are 6 episodes in. They've done a flawless job of adapting the book so far. I'll give it that. This is one of the closest adaptations that I have seen. Definitely check out The Changeling. It's on Apple TV Plus. See, I told you I was going to give another plug for Apple TV Plus. So there it is, guys. You just need to subscribe to Apple TV Plus. or at least subscribe in order to watch those shows, and then you can always cancel your subscription, right? That's the way things are in the age of streaming and overpriced streaming services and things like that. Wheel of Time Season 2. I was not actually planning on getting to that this month, but I just did it on a whim one night. I said, I'm going to watch Wheel of Time Season 2. And as of last night, I have binged the entire series so far. There's only 1 episode left, and so I'm just waiting with everybody else on that final episode. It comes out this Friday, I think. So I'll be there. I'll be ready to watch it. I really enjoyed Season 2. I've only read the first 2 books. This supposedly adapts The Great Hunt, which is book 2. I'm starting to see some things I remember, but largely I've forgotten most of the book. So I'm just enjoying it as a fan of the show. Season 1 wasn't the greatest, but it was pretty good, and I've really enjoyed Season 2 so far. So more to come on that. We also started watching Ahsoka. the Disney Plus series based on Ahsoka Tano, who is one of our favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. So we've really enjoyed this show so far. It's probably one of our favorite Star Wars shows that we've seen on Disney Plus so far. And there have been some good ones. But yeah, we've really been enjoying Ahsoka. I started watching Foundation on Apple TV Plus. See, guys, all the good stuff is on Apple TV. I'm kidding. Kind of. It's the show that is based on the Foundation book series by Isaac Asimov. And when I say based on, I would say it's loosely based on. They have to put a lot of filler in because those stories are very bare bones. There's not a lot of detail as to how they cohere together. The show did a really good job, I think, of expanding it and making it feel more cohesive. So yeah, kudos to them. They're doing a great job. It's quite entertaining. Although I've only watched the first episode of season 2, I'm looking forward to continuing the rest of it. All right. I also continued Downton Abbey. I'm almost done with season 4. Just continues to be a great show. Yeah. In October, we will be watching Loki season 2 on Disney Plus. One of our favorite characters in the MCU. And I just can't wait to see what they do with season 2 because season 1 was bonkers. And I'm sure it's going to be even more bonkers in this season. It looks like it from the trailers. So I guess we'll see. We're also going to be watching The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. This is a miniseries based on the book by Edgar Allan Poe and other stories from Edgar Allan Poe. Apparently there's not enough in The Fall of the House of Usher to do a full TV series on, but they are doing the show in such a way that it incorporates other things from the Poeverse. And so I'm all over it. Mike Flanagan is the director, and he has done me no wrong so far. I'm a huge fan, and I can't wait to see what he does with The Fall of the House of Usher. So we'll be watching that in October as well. I might continue Monster. I was watching that with my son, and it's a serial killer anime, and it's really well done. I think it's probably going to be one of my favorites. And I do need to get back to it. But, you know, I don't have my son here to watch it with me anymore. So it's kind of like, oh, man, I don't know. I mean, he told me to go ahead and watch it without him. So I probably will at some point. And I'm also possibly going to start watching Season 3 of The Witcher. That's not a huge priority for me. But if I get around to it, I'll probably watch some of that as well. Okay? As far as games I've been playing this month, I kept playing Pokemon Go on a daily basis. I've been, doing that with my daughter, and we've been comparing Pokemon that we catch and everything. It's been great. And I also started playing The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which is the remake of the game on the Switch. And boy, guys, it is so much fun. I also started a course on Super Mario Bros. U with my daughter. My son and I had started one previously, and I went ahead and started one with her as well. And she and I have been playing that on occasion, and it's just been awesome. I love the Super Mario games. There's something about the side-scrolling Super Mario games, that classic format, that just works really well for me. The 3D ones are fun too, but it's a whole different element. There's just something special about that side scroller. So I'm just having a blast with that, and I hope we continue to play again here real soon. We got Koopas to beat, so it's a thing. We gotta make our quotas. And I did not have a Chasm Friends discussion in September. I did, however, have my friend Mona Lisa from Mona Lisa Reads on the channel to discuss the Tommy and Tuppence novels by Agatha Christie. And it is a spoiler-filled discussion, so if you're not quite ready to watch that before you read the books, I I totally get that. So I will be having a Chaz and Friends episode in October. It's already been talked about and planned. Just got to make sure the schedules align, right? And then I am going to be having a celebration of 1,000 subscribers this Saturday, Saturday the 7th. I still have not solidified a time, so I will be making a community post about what time that is going to be, okay? But it's coming. So if you have not watched my 1,000 subscriber announcement video, you need to go watch that, because that is where you can comment a question that you want to ask me, or sign up for the giveaway, because I am going to be doing a giveaway. So you'll need to watch that video and find out how that's going to work. Make your comments, use your gift emojis, all that good stuff. But find that video, watch it, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on that live stream on Saturday, if you're able to make it. I really hope you are. So stay tuned for that. And I think that's all I've got to cover right now, guys. It's been a month, and it's about to be another month. So until I talk to you next time, make sure you read more books. Have fun.